Hello, Om Shanti, and a warm welcome to all of you who have joined us here from FAO, from Rome, from Edinburgh, from all other places in Italy and UK. The Zoom is such a facility, isn't it, that there are no boundaries to cross or expenses to incur. My name is Louisa, and I coordinate the Brahma Kumaris Centre in Edinburgh. And I'm co-hosting this event with Radha, whom most of you know, and who has been running lunchtime discussions for many years for her FAO colleagues. And we thought we would offer these discussions for a wider participation. And here we are with a very interesting speaker, Linda Lee, whom I have known for many years as a friend and fellow Raj Yogi meditator, and I'm very happy to introduce her. Linda has coordinated the Brahma Kumaris activities in Brighton since 1983. She also organizes, I think, anyway, she also organizes ongoing programs, events in the south of England, but now mostly on Zoom, I think that's right, and supports the Lighthouse Retreat Centre in Worthing, that's in the south of England near Brighton. She has travelled extensively, including visiting Casa Sangam, the retreat place in Gubbio. So Linda used to work in the health service and is now retired. She dedicates her time to sharing her practical spiritual wisdom and insights gained from over 35 years, probably more, of practice of Raja Yoga meditation. So please welcome Linda for a very insightful session. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Louisa, and thank you, Radha. Lovely to be in Italy and UK at the same time. So it is an amazing, it's an amazing facility, Zoom. I mean, I just find it just, you know, we coordinate events from a place, a physical place, but we have an audience that can be absolutely anywhere. So this is something to really get our heads into, I think, and I'm sure we've managed to some degree, but this sense of unlimitedness that Zoom has created inside us. So lovely topic today, actually, staying connected to my lightness. And I was thinking to really kind of explore what lightness is to start with, because how can we be connected to something if we don't really know what it is? So one thing that people have said to me over the years, and not everybody says it, but quite a few times people have said to me that I am very light. And I've always kind of, you know, kind of not dismissed it, but kind of not really understood what on earth they were talking about when they've mentioned this, they've said this to me. So it's good that we've got this topic, because it's helping me to explore this myself, this thing about lightness. So I'm sure over the weeks that Radha's been, you know, opening up to discussions, you've had talks about the soul and about the soul being a point of light. And, you know, this picture behind me is a point of light that's radiating rays of light. And this is a kind of focal point that we use for meditation, just like the slide that was on in the beginning. So I'm sure you've kind of been introduced to that concept, but lightness is something that I think we all like it when we feel light. I don't think we like it when we feel heavy. So this is kind of the opposite. And it's a really interesting word in English, because it does have two opposites. One is heaviness and the other is darkness. And both of these places, nobody really likes to enter. And I'm sure that many people have dipped in and out of both of those things in the last 18 months or so during our COVID and the various governmental rules of lockdown that we've kind of experienced in all over the world. So I'm sure, you know, it's kind of like a wave. One minute we're you know, we've opened up and we're relatively free. That sounds a really ridiculous concept, but anyway. And then another country is going into lockdown and being like imprisoned again. So that's what it kind of feels like. So nobody really likes that. We all like this sense of being free and being able to be ourselves. But and maybe eat through this sort of time period we've gone through, maybe this has helped some people to really get in touch with their inner self and really connected with their inner self. So this might have been helpful for some people, but I know there's a huge amount of suffering out there, and people are really going through some kind of hell, and not all people, but some people. And it's really paying its toll now on the physical level, the mental level, the spiritual level, of course, the emotional level. So there's kind of like quite a lot of trauma out there. So this thing about staying connected to my lightness, I was thinking that actually the lightness is connected with the heart. Now, I'm not talking about the heart that's in this body, but the heart that is in the soul, and the heart of something is really like the center of something. But when we think about the heart, it's much more to do with feelings, and rather than emotions, maybe even difference from emotions. And it's also connected with intuition. I feel it's connected with intuition, because the bit that's on this paper saying, do I get puzzled with this question? What is it that I'm supposed to do? And should I stand back or intervene? I feel that this we can do this on an intellectual level, on a head thinking level, but I think it's much more to do with the heart when we become indecisive. So I think when we're connected with our light, it means that we're connected with our heart. And we all know how to connect with our head, because this is the name of the game nowadays. It's all about being intellectual and all about, you know, information and cramming it all in here. And Google is at the touch of a button, can give you the answer to everything. It's the modern day God now. So this thing about connecting with the heart, I think, is something that definitely opens up when we become more spiritual and we start to meditate. So it kind of opens up. I mean, there's an energy center here, the heart chakra. So, and that's not directly, it's in the same place as the heart, but it's not directly connected with the physical heart, but it's got a more of a subtlety to it. But I think we kind of, even if we're not quite sure where it is, we kind of know what it is when we're connected with it. So we're learning to balance that which is in our head with that which is in our hearts. And when we start to meditate, I think it enables us to start moving energy that's maybe sometimes blocked in the heart if we're too much in our head. And it's not necessarily that you have to be very clever to be connected with your head. I think you when we're too much in our head, it's because we're constantly thinking. And I know for myself, and maybe this is what people saw in me, I don't know, but I know for myself, I don't like to think too much. And I like to keep life quite simple and uncomplicated. So maybe that's connected with this term of lightness. But people did used to say this more than simple or uncluttered, but lightness. So I feel it's this combination of being connected with the heart and allowing the heart, the inner space inside, to be able to see things from a different perspective. And I think that's what happens when we start to become more balanced with our head and our heart, because immediately our thinking will jump into the game when there's a situation. Our mind will get activated by that, and we can have all sorts of thoughts about that. But I think when our heart starts to get involved, we start to see things in a bigger way, a more expansive way, a more deeper way, maybe more far-sighted and broad. Maybe it's more like 3D, 4D, 5D. It's like we start to see on different dimensions a different kind of reality than what's just we're just seeing with our eyes. So I think this whole concept of lightness is connected with all these factors, or some of these factors. I mean, and sure there's loads more. But it feels, when we start to activate our heart, it feels much more that we're balanced. We're balanced, and it does affect the way we interact with people. So the heart generally is connected with love, and I like to connect the heart with feelings rather than emotions, because I have a difference in those two things, even though some of the words cross over and they can be in both camps. But I see that feelings to me are much more stable and solid, and emotions are really sort of fluctuating and all over the place. When we get emotional, like sometimes when somebody drops something, they go like this to me is emotional. It's like reactionary. Whereas like somebody that in this morning in our class made this, maybe they dropped something heavy, and I watched people jump and react to that, and I didn't react to that, even though I didn't know it was going to happen. So I'm using that as an example, that I feel that lightness is connected with our heart, and our heart is connected with our feelings, and our feelings are much more stable and solid, but flexible at the same time. Not stable and solid and rigid, but flexible at the same time. Very much like a tree. I mean, this morning here down in the south coast, it's really, really windy. It's quite sunny, it's quite dry, but it's really, really windy. And watching how, trees move, with branches move in the wind, and some of them that are too rigid and too dry, they snap off. And so there's lots of twigs and bits of tree on the pavement as I was walking back home. But this thing about feelings is a kind of deep-rooted thing inside us, and that's definitely connected with the heart. So I think adding these kind of ideas into a situation when we've got to decide whether we should do something or not, I think these are very helpful, because when we're born, we don't have a kind of guidebook that if this scenario happens, this is how you respond to it or you react to it. We don't have that kind of we're not born with that, are we? It's like we learn it as we go along, and sometimes we can have a situation that's very similar to a situation we've already just maybe a year or so passed through, but we need a completely different set of understanding to be able to deal with that. So this is why this sort of far-sightedness and depth, to be able to see things as they are a bit more real. Anyway, maybe we can't see it as it is in its real truth, but we can see it in a way that it's a bit more real. And I was thinking, I was watching a little kind of film thing, spiritual film, and it was about a guy who got chosen to be the chosen one, and he had no real qualifications at all. He was quite a down and out, and wasn't kind of spiritual at all. But anyway, he ended up getting chosen, and he went through lots of tests, and he managed to pass these tests. And then right at the end of this story, he met what I suppose it was God, somebody representing God. I'm not quite sure. It's a bit cryptic, the program, but what interested me was that when this guy who was chosen to be a savior, like a saint or an angel, he met with God. God said that, he said to God, but I don't really know what to do. And God said to him, but when it comes to it, you will know, you will find out. And I thought that's actually how we deal with life, because when it comes to making decisions, that's when we find out whether we know what to do or not. So this thing about indecisiveness, I mean, I can't bear that. I can't bear that in myself when I don't know what to do, and I get confused, and I'm not normally like that. And normally it's like I see something and my heart and my head kind of gel together, and we go for it. And sometimes it's wrong, but most of the time it's kind of right. And so it's like my feelings and my thoughts kind of merge together and give me a sense of quite stability. So I'm adding lots of things into this pot of lightness, because I think it's not just one thing. It's not just one thing. I think it's lots of factors. Like when in the Brahma Kumaris, we are emerging from within ourselves this aspect of peace. That's why we use the term Om Shanti. It's very useful to use it. I find that such a useful little phrase, that when things start to get going a bit pear-shaped, Om Shanti really brings me back into this one word. It brings me back into lightness. So this ability to be able to stay connected, we need to kind of know what it is that we're connecting with. And maybe you've discussed about spirituality being a point of light, the point of light's inside, and all of those aspects. But I think it's nice to know what it feels like. So peace is a feeling. Peace is what I am. So when I'm in this space of being peaceful, and really that's what meditation is all about, is to connect with that peace. So when I'm really peaceful, I'm really stable, I'm really solid. So peace is one aspect. Love is another aspect, that when I'm really in touch with this heart, when I'm really able to balance my head and my heart, then the love, which is not kissy cuddly love, it's a much more respect and compassion and kindness. I like these words more, that are connected with love. So when we're in touch with our inner self, with this aspect of love, then we're able to share those kind of feelings and experiences. So and happiness is happiness again is another word that can be kind of extrovert, and you could kind of see it on an emotional level. But happiness is something that I think you can feel when someone is happy. I remember one of our senior teachers, Daddy Gulzar, she's got not a very pretty face. She doesn't even really look like a woman. She looks more like a man in her face, and she doesn't walk around smiling much. But when you're in her presence, I mean, you just feel really joyful. Isn't that true, Radha? Just really, really joyful. So that makes you kind of see that happiness isn't something about, nice shiny white teeth and a big smile. It's about the energy and vibration that's going on inside you. And so happiness is also, yes, we can be happy if we're eating a nice chocolate ice cream, that can make you happy, but as soon as you've eaten it, that's kind of, your happiness is finished. So the happiness that's deep inside the soul, this is also connected with lightness. So happiness, and then there's a sense of cleanliness as well, because if we have a light, like with a car outside, if I don't clean it and clean the lights, you know, you have to clean the light bulbs, not from the inside, but from the outside, because otherwise they get muddy and distorted. You can't see through them. So this sense of cleanliness, that inside I'm clean, I'm uncluttered, and then I'm connected with truth, my truth, which is a spiritual truth, which is actually everybody's truth as well. And so when I am connected with that, then I can know whether I should stand back or whether I should intervene. And this brings me into the aspect of Daddy Yankee. She was also like this angel I was mentioning in the film that I watched. You know, God said to him, "You will know. I'm not going to give you a handbook. I'm not going to give you anything. You'll just know." And Daddy Yankee was like that. She was amazing how she had this ability to say very few words to make things happen, because she just came from a place of knowing. So that again is the far-sightedness, to be able to see the depth, to feel the energy from the other one, and all of this can be done in moments. This isn't that you have to sit down and think about this and think about that. You know, as we meditate more, we clean ourselves out from the inside. We're becoming more stable, detached, light, peaceful, loveful. All of these words help us to be able to observe with more clarity. And also, when we are practicing those things, they help us they're the kind of things that we put in our kind of guidebook as to what to do in situations. So again, it stops us from being reactionary, and maybe sometimes when we're reactionary, we say things we didn't actually mean, that weren't actually necessary. So this whole thing is connected. Lightness is connected with all these lovely words. So this is, again, just to add some more to the pot. You know, this is what we kind of focused on in our day-to-day living. We connect with these inner virtues, which are incredibly beautiful when we are in connection with them, when we're in tune with them. So, you know, like honesty and sweetness and faith and stillness and enthusiasm and simplicity and clarity and sincerity. All of these words are very, very beautiful. And so I've got a little, just above the screen here, I'm just looking at it. I have a picture of an angel, and she's got all these qualities written in her wings and in her arms and in her dress, just to remind me, you know, just if I use patience in this situation, or I use sweetness in this situation, these are added factors that if I am reactionary, I won't use those. I won't choose to use them. I'll use more things that are emotional, and then I've lost my stability. So I think that meditation is the tool to keep us in connection with our lightness. We have to meditate, and it has to be, I think, a daily process now. I think a daily practice now. I think we're getting to a stage now where we need to add more spirituality into our lives, and to make them stronger, to make ourselves stronger and more whole and more healed, So I feel that, yeah, some of these factors. So I'm going to pause there because there's plenty of more time, but there might be a few thoughts or questions, and I might have totally confused everybody and muddled you all up. But I'm going to pause there and to give a little space if anyone wants to share anything. I don't know if you do it in the chat or you do it verbally. I'm not quite sure because this is the first time I've connected with all of you. So maybe some guidance one of you could give, Louisa or Radha.
I think Radha, I can say, I do have a question, but I don't know if anyone else has a question.
Well, you ask the question, Louisa. Let's at least keep going.
It's a question that I've often been asked myself.
Okay.
I'm sure you can expand on this, is that how can you feel happy when things are not going right for you? You know, when there's lots of discomfort and disappointment and things like that.
That's a really big question because I don't think it's very easy to feel happy, but you can feel peaceful. You can feel peaceful. You can feel light. I mean, I've just been I'm still going through a lot of health issues, and within the health issues, there's a lot of pain. So again, happiness is something that's inside of you, and it's not this jokey, jovial sense of happiness, or this sense of smiling all the time. But you know, I think it's much more that you can be peaceful when everything is kind of falling to bits around you. If you've put in some practice, I think it's not so easy to be happy or peaceful or even loveful if you haven't put in any time to practice. I really don't think so, and I feel that that's why the world is sort of disintegrating around us, because majority of people have taken these love and happiness and peace from external temporary things, and we're not going through that age now, where the temporary things are starting to collapse. So even the body, you know, my body has already gone through a collapse, and it's on a course of repair now, but it's not an easy place for me to live inside this body. It's quite uncomfortable. But that doesn't mean to say, you know, somebody told me that pain is compulsory, but sorrow is not. So I can experience the pain, but I don't have to be sad about it. So I use understanding to see to give me insight as to what's happening with myself and my physical body, and I meditate, and I sit as quietly as I can, but that's also not all that terribly easy. But you know, that the love, the peace, and the happiness is my property, and it's up to me whether I want to give it away to this situation that's causing me sorrow. So I'm not walking around going, oh, this is great. I mean, I just love experiencing pain because, you know, I haven't slept for nearly 6 months properly, and in every moment it's painful. I don't walk around thinking that it's brilliant and great. But at the same time, I can understand that this is, you know, this is the drama. This is how it is. And so I look for solutions. And at the moment, I've got some therapist helping, and she seems very, very positive about it all. So I'm taking help and support from her positivity about it all. So, you know, I think it gives us more insight to be able to take back our because when we are unhappy, it's like we become a bit of a slave to more circumstances, whereas if I can step back a little bit and be a bit more peaceful and be a bit more inside, then it gives me a chance to be in charge of my own self, and making choices of whether I want to, really get caught up with all this sorrow. So pain is compulsory. It's like you can't get away from that. But sorrow is a choice. You don't have to be sad. So to Louise's question, I don't think you can be happy when everything is collapsing all around you, in the true sense that it's just happiness. But you can be peaceful. I can be calm. I can be kind. I can be simple. I can be humble. I can be sweet. These are all choices that I can make in my interactions with others. But I can also be angry and I can express my pain as well. This hurts me, so I want to hurt you. But I'm choosing not to do that. And so this is a really valuable lesson for me, that I'm choosing to be more sweet and loving, and I see that the people I'm mostly interacting with are responding back to that with a lot more kindness as well. So this is the game, that what you put out kind of comes back to you. So I think it's very difficult to be happy, and I'm not focusing on staying happy. I'm focusing much more myself on being stable, in being peaceful, and enabling the true pure virtues to operate, rather than the negativity, which is very easy for me to switch into that and be irritated and because that's how I feel, that's what I feel. But if I go deeper beyond that feeling into the real heart, the core of the soul, that's not a truth.
Thank you, Linda. I think that's very helpful, what you've been sharing. And I'm just wondering if anyone else has any questions they could ask directly or put in the chat. You can either unmute or write in the chat.
Well, when we do these kind of programs, what I feel is that it takes time to people to come up with a question, and they might not even have a question. But maybe we could do a meditation now, and then if there's any questions that arise after that, would that?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Radha.
Yes. Radha's doing the techie bits.
There was also, maybe for later on after the meditation, if you like, but you had said something about that you were able to not think too much. And so I'd be interested to hear more about that. So
okay,
do you want to share now?
Yeah, let's share that now. Yeah. So actually, this has been a long time practice. This was something that attracted me within a short space of time of coming across the Brahma Kumaris, when we started to create the positive thinking course, because there wasn't a positive thinking course when I started on this spiritual path with the Brahma Kumaris. But and at that time I was dealing with a lot of people that had had a mental breakdown. It coincided with some courses that I was doing with people that had really collapsed mentally, and so it made me think about thoughts. And so from that time I've really practiced not having too much clutter in my head. And Daddy Genki gave me and gave everybody this little method of the full stop, that when a situation has come and gone, then you put a full stop and it's ended the situation. And then I love this practice of a full stop, because it means that you can then go somewhere else, because you can start a new sentence, you can start a new paragraph. I find it very, very helpful. And so also, I used to write, but I don't write now. But at the end of the day, I like to kind of just, get rid of anything that's not necessary, so that I don't carry it through to the next day. And I've seen those kind of just a few simple practices over a long period of time. I don't have much going on in my head. And when I do have things, then I can see quite clearly that I've speeded up again and I've got involved. And it's like this thing, I've not stood back, I've got involved, and I'm starting, even if I've not intervened on a physical level, I've intervened on a mental level. I've got myself involved in a situation that really doesn't need to be involved in. So it's helped me to be more detached. But it's this is simple practice. Okay, that scene in the drama is finished. I put a full stop and then I move on. And that's what I saw with Daddy. You know, she could give advice to probably 100, 200 people in a day, maybe. And but she never carried this person's baggage through to the next person. She let go of it. And so that's because she also didn't keep a lot of thoughts going on in her head. So I liked that practice because then it helps me in meditation to be much more free. And I'm sure that's helping me now, even though my meditation isn't quite as great as I'd like it to be, because pain, I'm having a battle with this pain. But because there's not so much going on in here, I mean, I used to think that was connected with stupidity, that there wasn't a lot going on in here. But actually, I understand it much more as it's this simplicity. And so it does kind of flow through into your life and the way you live your life, that you live a life with very little clutter around you. And you know, you can go into some people's houses and it's like it's full of junk. Well, my perspective, but you know, knickknacks. I have a friend she's got a whole wall which is a bookcase, and it's got hundreds of books on it, but she's got so poor eyesight now she can't read. So I say, get rid of all of that. Oh no, I want to keep it. But for me, it's like too much clutter. So I like to be free. So I would take the whole lot and take it down to the charity shop and donate it so that other people could read it. So this kind of thing, there's a lot of things that go on to help free your mind up. But most of the time, my mind is not empty, but it's got very little in it. So I feel much more connected with my feelings in that way. But you're also the same, Radha. I mean, you've been practicing for ages. You're not asking that question for yourself, because you also, you know, this is connected with lightness, isn't it? That lightness is free. When something is light, it can fly like a balloon. It'll go up because it's light. So I think it's all connected.
Yeah, it was for myself actually, because I think that it's sometimes very subtle, isn't it? The thinking too much and the effect. I find that it comes also not so much in terms of feelings, but even in the body, where the muscles tense up, and that's telling me that oops, there's something extra going on.
Yeah.
And so I was, you know, also thinking that maybe when you say think too much, you're talking about waste thoughts rather than necessary things. And so, as you were talking about the positive thinking, where we talk about these 4 different kinds of thoughts, and so that was very useful.
Because then they go into worry, and then it gets more complicated the more you think about things. So I love this practice of a full stop. I'm a real passionate flag waver for full stops. I think they're really it's the most simple thing. It comes at the end of a sentence. Full stops are not in the middle of a sentence. Commas are, exclamation marks can be there, question marks, you can have colons and all these things, but a full stop means it's finished. And then there's just the sign, this feeling of, oh, thank God for that. So it makes you feel light. And then there's this connection with your inner feelings and then your judgment. It's not clouded by lots of other clutter. So I say, chuck it out. If it doesn't work, chuck it out, get rid of it and be free. So it's still work in progress. There are other areas to that as well that I need to work on, but in terms of heaviness, thoughts, too many heavy thoughts, because it makes you stressed, and then you get ill. And I think this has triggered this off. Actually, I took on a big project, which was much bigger than I felt capable of. I've got, my parents are still alive, and they were both really sick. And I had somebody doing some building work in the house who was stressing me out as well. And this kind of, these three things all happened at the same time, and it did overload me. And then the consequence, I think it's triggered this off, this stuff, which means that it doesn't then rewrite itself because my mind has become stable and peaceful. No, the body's still going through its thing, but it's good because it has to come out. All of these things have to come out, and so yeah. But I can still be, feeling peaceful and calm through all of this. I think this is what it's all about, how you deal with what's going on. So yes, connect with my lightness again and again and again and again forever. And then you'll see.
Would you find that that's useful also when maybe you find that other people who you're in contact with are getting stressed and thinking too much, and to be able to deal with that so that without getting involved in their process?
Yeah, I think that's incredibly helpful. And I watch that with my own, my vibrations. If I'm in a peaceful stage, that's transferable. And I remembered being on the receiving end of somebody being really calm and peaceful when I was dealing with a situation. And this person just brought me back into this balance and stability. So when you are in that space, when you are calm and peaceful and light, then it has an effect on other people, and it helps them to let go of their whatever they're going through. But I also know that when I don't do that, if and when I don't do that, that also has an effect. So if I get cross, or I get irritated, or I lose my sweetness, then that's also transferable to other people. So we're doing this all the time within anybody that we're connecting with. And this is why, I remember somebody saying to me once, because we practiced this thing of good wishes, and she said to me, but I'm giving you good wishes. And I thought, well, your face doesn't say that you are, and your words don't, the vibration isn't like that. But when you really are in connection with your own inner self, then I think that's what happens. You transfer good wishes, and it's a non-interfering thing as well. It's not that we have to know what they're going through or what's going on, but it's really stabilizing. And we had 3 of our students lost their mothers within months of each other, and in different sorts of ways. But I saw what being in a state of peace does, and how much strength they took from that, how much support they took from just me being peaceful and not speaking too much, but just being there as supportive. So I feel that that's very important to give to others.
Okay, that's very nice, Linda, and helpful again, I think, for everyone. And maybe now a few minutes of meditation, and if there is time for any further discussion afterwards.
Okay. Well, I know you people are working. This is a lunchtime as well, so we're finished just before 1. Okay, so let's have some meditation. So you're going to turn me off and put something nice on so they can look at something nice and peaceful. I'll turn me off. So it's nice always to maybe even close your eyes to step inside. And just allow yourself to let go of any tension or any thoughts or any anxieties that maybe have happened to you this morning or yesterday. And just allow yourself to be relaxed and breathe, and maybe a little more deeply, but in a very slow and gentle manner. Cover the talk, but I feel that breathing is also a very important factor. When we start to feel we're getting out of balance. So as we do feel more relaxed, then we are automatically connected with our lightness. Heaviness and darkness dissolve when we're relaxed. And it enables us to step a little deeper inside and connect with ourselves as being of peace. Peace, inner peace, my peace is very important. Because it's a gift that is not just for me, but something I can share with others. We use the term Om Shanti, and even the vibration that is generated from expressing the words of Om Shanti automatically make you feel more peaceful. So everything starts with peace. And actually everything ends with peace as well. It's the peace in the middle that we need to pay attention to. So when we experience in meditation this inner calmness, this stillness, this peacefulness, then we have a reference point in our life that tells us when we leave that space and we go somewhere else. So meditation is helping us to be able to observe our own selves, observe who I am, rather than being pulled to look at what's external, what's outside of me. We're going through some very tricky times. Everyone on the planet is going through very tricky and destabilizing experiences. So all I can hold on to is my inner peace. So when we sit together and we reflect on our spiritual self, when we reflect on our inner virtues and powers, this enables me to become lighter. And the more I practice this, the quicker I become at noticing when my energy has changed. So this is an art, this is a skill, but the outcome of practice is my own inner well-being, and I become whole, and I become complete. Om Shanti. I am peace.
Well, thank you very much, Linda. That was a really beautiful meditation as well. And we do have another couple of minutes, so I don't know if, I think someone before the meditation had wanted to say something, but if anyone would like to say something as well now, then here's your chance. And if not, well, we can close just really thanking Linda so much for sharing really your experience. And I think that's the thing that's so valuable to hear and to feel like, well, if one person can do it who's alive and living and smiling, well, so can I. And I found very interesting the analogy of cleaning the lights of the car, for example, that you might have wonderful light that even works very well, but if it's not cleaned, then it's a pity, isn't it, to have that. So someone is saying, could you please share with us a link where to find a short video on meditation.
We'll leave that to Louisa and Radha. They can send you something.
Certainly. So thank
There's
you.
absolutely tons of things on the internet, on YouTube. So there's loads of lovely things, very lovely things.
Yes. And so there's a comment from Anna who's saying, very illuminating topic, will aim to become lighter. Excellent. Many thanks. Also.
Excellent.
Yes. And another person, Dominique, was saying, I wish to say thank you. This was very enlightening. The practice of putting a full stop to my thoughts is something I will try to practice, as I find it very useful. Thank you very much. Great. Well, thanks to all of you for coming and participating as well. And it's definitely be something that will be very useful too, to experiment with and over a long-term practice, isn't it? That's really what counts as well. So says Bev, thank you so much for a lovely talk. We'll also aim to be lighter. Beautiful thoughts to ponder on and guidelines. Here are the guidelines.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. And thank you very much, Linda. Add my thanks. It's always very helpful to hear how people are managing their difficulties and managing to stay light into the bargain. And that does, I think, a huge amount to spread lightness that we very much need.
Wonderful. So look forward to seeing you next time. Dominique, did you want to say something?
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.